Hello and welcome. It is the 30th day of January 2020. It's the completion of such, moving into the 31st day. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel. Like always, all bets, trades of the like within each's own risk and their own reward. I'm not going to go over too many charts. This and Bitcoin Cash. I'm also going to be talking about just really the life of gambling, trying to find edges, and really, that's what the game is. And this is one of the games I believe as well. Well, definitely is. This is the ratio of gold and Bitcoin. When this goes up, that means Bitcoin is overperforming that of gold. And when this goes down, that means gold is overperforming Bitcoin. And it's moving the exact same as it is against the dollar. Even though gold is having its differential move, it's in a bull market as well, but gold's in a nice uptrend, and here Bitcoin is breaking out against gold, at least from these lows at the end of last year, start of this year. Comes up to this high, and from this one, higher lowing it, matching this one, matching the 18 lows, exitation here, and now been holding well, staying above this level. I think just one of the easiest ways of looking at this is, at least until the meta game changes, and I'm just using a similarity word, until the way things move and volatility is different. Bitcoin is going to decide the direction in which this goes. Bitcoin does phenomenally well against the dollar, regardless, most likely, on how well gold does. Bitcoin will do better. And that's a wild card situation, because is it possible we can see gold at like 4,000, 5,000? If that's the case, like $5,000 gold, now we're talking about Bitcoin having to be like well north of its 20,000 highs just to be higher than 6, where it stands right now, because, well, gold would be making like a 3x type of a move, or 2.5x move. Can Bitcoin do that? Most likely it would. In fact, if gold was at 3,000, it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin was already north of 60, or already have been north of 60 at some point already. But of course, we'll see as time moves on how that plays through. The ratio 6-1, which means that you need 6 ounces of gold approximately to buy one Bitcoin. And back in here, I mean, these fractional numbers, Bitcoin's been holding its own. Let's just put it that way. Also, when I take a look at this even further, I've been asked about stuff like selling, like just like getting rid of or trading silver and really gold and the tangible metal itself. Because if you're trading in whatever market, whatever platform you're trading it with, there's several different ways. I think one of the key things of note as far as trading silver, and I talk a lot about buy low, sell high, meaning when things are low, you buy, and when things are high, you sell. Uptrends. Thus, when gold and silver goes to big prices, well, that's when people are going to be wanting to get in, or getting into silver. Not wanting, they have been, they still want, and they still will want for probably days and longer to buy that gold and silver. So when you're looking to sell it, when people want to buy it, it doesn't become that difficult of a situation. And then you can use strategies to try to get the best deals that you possibly can. So I wanted to go over that comment as well. And that's something I'm confident is going to happen for gold and silver moving forward as well. And then you can always return it to your dealers you buy. This with myself. I buy from like silvergoldbull.com. You can buy from like AppMax and JM Bullion or wherever. They pretty much all say, hey, send us our gold and silver. We'll give you this amount for it. It's easy. You might not get the best of prices back. However, if you are selling it for profits and you understand your selling strategy, how much in quantity you sell, maybe which exact pieces of silver you're selling, your different bars or whichever forms that you own. Everyone's, of course, got different situations. Understand the strategies. Is it a good one? Is there any other ones? And investing strategy for yourself. Different things you can think of, I think, are just good ideas. Now let's move on to Bitcoin Cash, which down in here had a 0.025 or so price point, and is now at 0.041. So that's a gain of 15 on, better than 15 on 25. That's better than 50, better than 60, or around 60%, we'll say. Probably a bit better. Anyway. One of the key terms I like to say is showing strength amongst the 18 highs, or showing weakness on the 18 lows. For this now being, looks like period 5, it's showing strength at the 18 highs, doing what it's doing, just hanging in there, doing all of this type of stuff in here. I like to see this as in so many days of just staying and holding here. This is where it shot this big rally up towards, and then it just congested and resisted this point, had its price correction, took 3 days, 3 red candle days. We have 3.8% down, 2 1/4, 1.5, 1 3/5 area. Comes down the 18 average of lows. You could say, oh, that's an official term, sort of like this was in here. Okay. It's giving you the signals, like it's shouting, okay, it's looking like this thing is poised, ready to break out and get going. You can look at shorter term time frames. Is there anything to help you along the way? And when we're looking at this on the single hour time frame, it's becoming very neutral bound, and every time it has managed to attempt a breakout or a breakdown since it has got in this range, it has failed every single time. So we got the high and we got the support. The resistance that it established, it hasn't even tested it. It is established resistance even lower. The support that it established, it has retested here, and then again a couple times as well. And now it's establishing support at a higher level. That's a little bit of a bullish thing, but in a neutral situation because we're not making lower highs. Then we have this attempt to break out here. But you can say that was successful within the correction because you successfully supported it. Then you had this little thing here. So things were looking really big here on January 28th, 29th that this was ready to get going. It didn't do it though. So some people get trapped in here on these little bets, yada yada. That's happened, but it didn't break down. We had some lower lows, but the last lower low was a match of this one in here. So here we have another breakout attempt, number 3, with this being 1, this being 2, and successfully correcting, and then again, but not quite again. So all of these attempts not doing it, and these little sliver attempts, if you count it, it's just really hanging in there. But yes, we're supporting this area here after supporting this. So that's an upgrade. But while it's supporting a higher low, what it's not doing is making a higher high, because we have these in here and these are matching, and really, if anything, small pierces below. And not only that, but this was many periods ago. We got this little resistance trend in here. This is almost like an anybody's ball game situation, to the point now where if we break below, we're going to have another test here, and it might succeed again, and it might not. If it doesn't, well, concise, probably fast moves breaking down below here. We'll be looking at a higher low from this area as the next area of support. 61.8% is what I'd be looking for. I'm not calculating it. Next level after that would be previous low. Getting it above this little resistance high just means we haven't even had a test of the first established high, and well, that's the next key level that we would be looking at. And this key level is the lower high in the area of this one. So it's a matching one to this. Still hasn't even tested this one. So getting above this next key level is now again this. And maybe it can do something like build a range and maybe support this area later on and resist here. That's a possibility as well. But because of this type of, it's long standing, when are you going to do this, taking forever time to reaction, you need to see a little bit to be extremely confident that on the daily chart, as bullish as it is and as much strength as it is showing on the 18 highs, that it needs more to get above like this 42.8 handle and get above even 44.4, like all fours. I suppose what might be a good idea is to draw a line within the 18 average of highs, and just for fun, something like this, you go like this, and it's not the greatest of lines, but it's fair enough. And then I can look at this on like the hourly time frame, and we can see here that this big level of support that it's been enduring for the last 3 days has been such a big level. It's been holding, and it's in a symmetrical triangle as well. This is symmetrical, and we can even call this symmetrical. Usually these patterns will resolve themselves within the path of least resistance, and we'll see moving forward. Now I'm going to transition this into gambling, daily fantasy, risk-reward management. It's been a lot of fun, and one of my enjoyments that I've had, because I've done it a few times, I'm doing it again, is pretty much turning nothing into something. And right now, I've surpassed my I've surpassed at the 50% mark now, or greater than that, of my goal of making 10,000 during this NHL hockey season. Currently in at 5,100 and change. And this has been my graph since the start of the season in a linear format. And within this, I realized that my 10,000 level was a very conservative one. As what I do is I every single day pick hockey players, and it's all mathematical. Well, it's very mathematical. A lot of work, but doesn't take too much per day. And it's fun. I got to think that the goals can be like 6 figures all sports for the year. In fact, I'm up 700 when you include everything but this. Now the data for me has $5,112.21 profit and an ROI of 59.99%. So I'll safely round that to a 60% ROI. And that is with 8,446 in bet and 13,513 returned in fees. And that's like over 10,000 lineups. As if I put in the amount of rows in here, that's and that's coming into it. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm in good shape right now, moving the way the game is being flowed, or 36% of the way through regulation time, taking a break on the midway part. I'll watch the third period and hope for the best. Yesterday it worked out very well, as what occurred is I got losses back from the day before and then some. Just mainly my losses back. As you can see here, I had a little bit of a down move and I got it back. And that was multiple days that I lost, So 2 days losses back in 1 day. But that's because I lost 100% of my bets the day before. And then I got like 200% return. And that's what I like. It's like poker payouts. I'm risking X amount per day. So today I'm risking $205. That's the most I can lose. But I can win 500. I can win first place, and one of my biggest games is 1,000. And I'm totally live to possibly win it. Now this weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, I can win a lot more. And this is one of the fun things I like to do to determine who I'm going to play. Now, I don't get everybody in here. I can put different guys in, but I'll just write in what I think a box score would be. And this is for pro football. And let's just assume we'll do a San Francisco spot. Now, this is one of my strategies. I like to go against the consensus when I can at right spots, and then this one is most certainly highly upon that. And I already know the betting public really likes Deebo Samuel and won't be as big on Emmanuel Sanders. So I'm going to want to try to target him. So I'm going to think, okay, if he has a big game, how would it look? Well, maybe he might have a game where he might have 7 catches, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then I'll just put everybody else's box score in. And it's going to put in the quarterback stats up here. Maybe Deebo Samuel will get 4 catches for 46 yards. Matt Breida, 2 catches for 19. Raheem Mostert might get 4 catches for 26 yards. And Kevin Bourne maybe 1 for 11, and George Kittle, maybe he's a blocking tight end again, and I'm going to fade him in this game, so he's only going to have like a 2 of 29 kind of game, and well, that will give Jimmy G 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. Maybe he also throws for an interception, and maybe he runs for 14 yards as well. Mostert maybe runs for 57. And we'll even give someone else a touchdown. Just something fun, because we're going to have maybe just something to make a unique lineup work. Maybe Ross Dwelly gets a 20-yard trick play for a touchdown. Something like that. Even 20 yards is a lot, because he's a goal line threat. Maybe a 7-yard touchdown play. And now we got Jimmy G with a decent-sized score. Now, one thing San Francisco has lacked is the running. And we'll even give maybe Deebo Samuel, as if it's going to matter, because he's not going to be playable, 14 yards rushing. I can even go like Emmanuel Sanders, and you're going to notice the passing yards here. Maybe the 7-yard pass is from, we'll do it. We'll do maybe a 15-yard pass. And Garoppolo's number will go, should have went down. Maybe, either way. I could put passing yards for players too, and that could be a threat in the game. But anyway, we won't put that for the this game. Rushing yards. So Patrick Mahomes, quarterbacks have ran well against San Francisco this year. Let's go 55 rushing yards, and I don't see many situations where Mahomes is going to get stopped to under 20 fantasy points. And let's now put Damian Williams, say they struggle to run the ball. He gets 33 yards, and even Darwin Thompson only gets 10. Catching the ball, Tyreek Hill, maybe 4 catches for 62 yards. Sammy Watkins, and let's even say he gets a touchdown as well. Maybe Sammy Watkins gets 2 catches for 35. I think Hardman could have an interesting night. Maybe not as many catches, maybe 3. Maybe he just breaks one off big for a touchdown, 3 for 71. Donta Robinson, maybe a 9-yard catch. Travis Kelce, he's obviously a big game player. Maybe he doesn't get in the end zone, gets 65 yards. Mahomes at 242. Let's just say Blake Bell. This could be an interesting folk as well. Maybe he gets an interesting touchdown play. So he gets 2 catches for 31 yards. And playing players like that can make things interesting situations. So now what I would do is I got all my players in here. And now what I got is the list of what the fantasy points would be. So I can see Emmanuel Sanders would be somebody that I'd want to put in a captain position. So then I'm going to put all my other good players in. I'm going to put Jimmy G in. I'm going to put Patrick Mahomes in because they're going to get it. I'm going to try to get the most realistic box score that I can find. I even take almost replicas of box scores of the past that I think have a realistic shot of being this kind of game, and then replacing other players with the same replacements and adjusting them slightly based on different skill sets. But it also means you put Mecole Hardman in at 16 because that's a good score. He's going to be lower price to put in if you could afford Tyreek Hill. And when you're talking 16 points, you really don't want to mess around by putting kickers or defenses in because they're just not going to really help you get that million. But that being said, you think of a game, okay, what happens maybe if it is a kicker game where, I put scores in here. Let's just first get what the score would be like, and then how would the box score for that kind of score be played out. So I'm just going to redo this all over again. So let's just assume you think, okay, I think it's going to be Kansas City winning that game on defense. Or with their kicker, rather. We'll say kicker. So they get 14 touchdowns, and San Francisco will get 21 in touchdowns. And they don't even get a field goal, we'll say. But Kansas City will get 5 field goals. That's 15 points. So that's now 29-21, we'll say the final score is. So now we got a kicker that's got like 20-ish whatever points. So we won't even calculate, we just know it's going to be in that realm of field. So how would a game like this go? Well, we got to give San Francisco 3 touchdowns. So we'll now do Bossert running the ball. Say he runs for 1. So we'll give him, say, 74 yards and a touchdown, and maybe 1 catch, or 3 catches even, for 22 yards. And then we'll give a touchdown to, say, Manuel Sanders. Maybe 4 catches, 56 yards and a touchdown. And then give 1 to, say, Kevin Bourne. 3 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown. We'll fill the rest of the box score in. Deebo Samuel, 5 for 61. Actually, no, I don't want to give him too many yards because I want to give Kittle maybe a game like that. Dwelly will get nothing for this game, we'll say, because he is not much of a receiver. He's just there. He's like the sneaky guy. That's why I got him in there. And then Breida, 2 of, say, 15. So now 255 for 2. I don't think people want to play Garoppolo, so I'm going to be a little strong on him compared to that, and maybe a little less on Mostert. So that's their points. And then for them, we've only got 2 touchdowns. So let's even assume that Patrick Mahomes gets a shutdown day. He only gets involved in 1 touchdown. So say Darwin Thompson, even just a sneaky little thing, he gets in there. And there's Tevin Coleman. There's there's a bunch of guys that I've written in here that can get points as well too. So let's just say that he breaks a big one off, 65 yards and a touchdown. Damian Williams, 31 with none. 2 catches for 25. 2 catch. We'll even go give him some catches too. Make him one of your fantasy players you want to play. 4 for 59 and no touchdowns receiving. So Tyreek Hill, maybe 3. I'll give him more catches. 5 for 69. Sammy Watkins, maybe he's your touchdown guy for this one. 4 for 65 and a touchdown. Hardman, 2 for 35. Donta Robinson, 1 for 19. Kelsey, 6 for 55. And then Blake Bell, 1 for 11. And Blake Bell, one thing about him, he's on the field a lot. So if there's any trick plays, he could be there at any given time. So you can see in this situation here, you have a whole plethora of guys getting different scores. Now, a lineup like this would be very weird because you would be like, okay, I'm going to have Darwin Thompson as captain because he's got the most points of anybody. And we just talked about that kicker's going to get like 17, 18 points, 19 points. So we'll assume he's lower than Darwin, so he's going to be one of your players for number 2. You might as well stick Jimmy G in there with 20. You might as well stick in Mostert and Patrick Mahomes in there. And I guess you would throw in like Watkins, Sanders, any of these big guys, and there's your lineup. That's one way of... I think that's an interesting way because I got a lot to put through. I won 36 different tickets throughout the NFL playoffs and the Pro Bowl by playing 10 cent and 25 cent and very few $1 satellites to the $10 game. Mainly 10 cent because, well, that's 1 in like 100 plus the rake, 1 in 118. And then after that, it's on the 25 cent game, it's like 1 in like 25 people. So I can beat that type of field. I put mass lineups in, and now I got 36 combinations, and I'm trying to put the best quality lineups that I can to give me 6 figures to the 1 million possible prize, or a unique lineup with a realistic chance of winning. And it's a fun game. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.